You think you know your family. You think the people closest to you are the ones who'd protect you, defend you, stand in front of fire if it meant saving you. But what if I told you the person you trusted most was the one holding the match, and you didn't even see it until the flames were already at your feet? Tonight, you're about to hear a story that starts with laughter around a dinner table and ends with a secret so twisted, so unforgivable, that it tore an entire family into pieces. It began on what looked like an ordinary Sunday, the kind of day where the smell of roasted chicken filled the house, where kids ran barefoot across the hallway, where the sound of clinking dishes mixed with the hum of conversations. Everyone was there, siblings, parents, cousins. But the thing about betrayal is it hides in plain sight. It wears a smile. It clinks glasses. It passes you the salt. You never see it coming until it's too late. At the center of it all was Claire, my cousin, the one who, for as long as I can remember, seemed like the golden child. Straight A's, perfect hair, the one Grandma always bragged about to neighbors. But what nobody knew, at least not then, was that behind those perfect smiles, Claire had been carefully spinning a web, one she'd trap all of us in before the night was over. Dinner that day started normal, but it didn't end normal. I remember her voice cutting through the laughter, sharp, controlled, almost rehearsed. She tapped her glass and stood up with that smile everyone thought was so pure, and then she said words that froze every fork in midair. I need to tell you all the truth. The truth. That word alone was enough to make every eye turn toward her. Truth about what? She looked around the table like a performer who already knew the ending to her play, and then she dropped it. One of you, she said, has been stealing from Grandma. Silence. That heavy silence that makes your ears ring. Grandma, sweet, gentle, half-blind Grandma, who lived on nothing but her pension and the little savings she guarded like treasure. My stomach turned. Of course, everyone started looking at each other, and Claire let that silence drag on, feeding it, making sure every heartbeat in that room belonged to her. And then she turned her eyes to me. She didn't say my name. She didn't have to. The way she tilted her head, the way everyone followed her gaze, the way whispers started before I could even breathe, I already knew what she was doing. She was pointing the gun without pulling the trigger. I tried to speak, but Claire was faster. She had proof, she said. Proof that I'd been withdrawing money from Grandma's account. Screenshots of transactions, text messages, even a video clip from a blurry ATM camera. And in that moment, every pair of eyes that had loved me turned sharp. My mother's lips pressed into a thin line. My uncle shifted in his chair like he couldn't stand the sight of me. My father just stared at his plate. My voice cracked when I said it wasn't true. But the more I denied it, the guiltier I looked. Claire knew it. She had built this moment brick by brick. And here's the part that kept me awake for nights after. She didn't just accuse me. She told a story. A story about me being careless, about me sneaking around, about me laughing behind everyone's back. She painted me as a monster so well that even I almost believed it. But what Claire didn't know was that monsters can't hide forever, and secrets have a way of clawing their way out no matter how deep you bury them. Because the truth, the real truth, wasn't that I stole from Grandma. The truth was Claire had, and not just once, thousands of dollars siphoned little by little, hidden behind the very perfection she wore as armor. She thought she was untouchable. She thought her web was perfect. But webs tear when you pull hard enough. And the tear started with one small detail she forgot to erase. A timestamp. That was her mistake. She doctored the ATM footage, yes. She faked messages, yes. But she overlooked one tiny timestamp on one screenshot. And when I saw it later that night, my world flipped upside down. But here's the catch. You don't get to expose someone like Claire right away. Not if you want it to count. Not if you want the truth to burn as much as the lie did. So I waited. I smiled at her across the table, even as my chest was heavy with shame. I let her believe she won, and all the while, I planned. What came next wasn't just justice, it was survival. Days later, I gathered everything. Every bank statement, every slip Grandma tucked into her Bible, every transaction that didn't match up. I built a wall of evidence taller than her lies. And then I waited for the right stage. That stage came at Grandpa's birthday. Everyone was there again. The same faces, the same laughter, the same clinking glasses. Only this time, I was the one who tapped mine. When I spoke, my voice was shaking, but my words were steady. I told them everything about the withdrawals, the fake screenshots, the edited videos, and then I showed them the timestamp, that one tiny crack in her perfect mask. Claire's smile collapsed in front of everyone. She tried to laugh it off. She tried to scream, even tried to cry. But the harder she fought, the more the truth bled through. My uncle checked the bank statements himself. My aunt recognized Claire's handwriting on one of Grandma's fake notes. One by one, the people who believed her started shifting away, like rats leaving a sinking ship. Grandma's voice trembled when she asked her why, and Claire, for the first time, had no answer. But the story doesn't end there, because betrayal doesn't heal just because the truth comes out. Trust doesn't rebuild just because you proved you were right. Families don't go back to normal after someone sets fire in the middle of them. To this day, we're still picking up the pieces. Some cousins won't speak to me because believing her lies was easier than facing their guilt. Some relatives pretend it never happened at all. And Claire became a ghost at family gatherings. Always present, never acknowledged. She built her web, and in the end, she was the one trapped in it. And me? I walked away different. Not angry, not even satisfied, just different. Because once you've been accused of a crime you didn't commit, once the people you love chose a lie over your truth, you stop needing their approval. You stop chasing their love. You start building something stronger. So here's my call to you, the person listening right now. Ask yourself, who in your life wears a smile too perfect, a story too neat, a reputation too polished? And if one day that mask cracked, what would you do? Would you look away? Or would you be brave enough to pull the thread and watch the whole web collapse? Because betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It never does. It always comes from the person sitting right across the table, smiling at you, while holding the knife under the tablecloth. And when it happens to you, and it will, you'll have to choose whether you break or whether you stand, and you remind them the truth always finds its way out.